Hey guys, Borders Dude here. Today my video is all about what I call the hashtag deskbotchoice. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I asked guys on Twitter and 3 Facebook pages that I am normally frequent to vote between 5 bots for a figure they'd like me to review out of those choices, which were these guys. And when I counted everything out, it came back with a tie, so I'm going to do 2 videos on the deskbotchoice. First one today and another one through the week. So the first winner was animated Bulkhead. Alright, so straight into the close-up view for Bulkhead, because I think this does him justice. This is the leader-sized scale Bulkhead, and it shows just in the sheer girth and bulk of him, hence the name. Look at all the detailing going on there. You've got the lovely door panelling, you've got a nice little silver highlight in the wheels. You've got his 4 rockets to each side. The little armoured car starting, as he wasn't animated. Round the back there, this doesn't always clip in too well, but never mind. You've got some detailing going on there, but at the front is where most of your paint and gimmick functions are. So let's have a look at some of that lovely detailing and paint going on there. And if you look at his Autobot logo, press a button, and you see he has LED lights that light up, but if you hold it in, and if you keep holding it in, it'll just keep going and going and going and going. This is actually quite an easy transformation to do from alt mode to robot mode, but for some reason I made a complete and utter tit of it when I was doing the usual transforming bit in my video. So I've started at the back there, which is the best place to go, then just untab the legs. From the feet I've got 2 tabs to hold the legs in place. Now, what I should have done there was at the front, you've got the wheels, they fold in, but I neglected to do that for some reason, don't know why. And then I went up to the back there to try and get his arms out at the top. Now you can see everything tabs in pretty tight here with Bulkhead, which is a really good thing. It gives you a solid alt mode. Right, so I'm just sort of ripping everything out of place at this point in time, and then realising that, oh shit, I forgot to tab in his wheels at the front. So now I'm struggling like mad to get this bit out at the bottom that tabs in quite tightly to form Bulkhead's lower half for support. Oh, there we go, got it in the end. And now I'm just going to flip them in. There we are, so that was a bit I should have done at the start, but never mind. Now I'm just sort of going to adjust his lower half, get him all sorted out there. Trying to tidy a few things up here, going to the back. And I'm going to compact the wheels in and make his backpack. And that's on a sliding joint as well, which you'll see in a second. There we go, and it slides up. There we are, just ram up the top there, why not, eh? Right, let's have a look at those bunny ear bits at the back, as I call them. Here we are, yep. That's brilliant, looking good. Right, now we're going to come around to the front. This bit I really struggled with. That's me just trying to get the cab driver section of the alt mode open, because that was in really tight into the tab hole. You can see I'm really struggling to the point where I just broke it off. Frustration, I guess, but it's designed to come off with pressure, like the ball joints and what have you. Easy fix, just pops straight back on. Now I'm just going to adjust them, and then I'm going to go to the arms, make sure they peg in to the side there, which I've done off camera because that was very helpful of me. There we are. Yep, good. Now I'm just sort of doing a bit of tidying up here until I see how I see fit, I guess. See how I see fit. Doing it how I see fit, but you sort of adjust that bit the way you want, really. Alright, so I'm putting back in his missiles. His missiles do tab into those sections, but it doesn't really fit in that securely. They easily get knocked off, which is a shame. Right, okay, I put it on the wrong way, that was clever. Yeah, oh, there we go. Right, now I'm just going to adjust them. Get him a stand. He usually stands quite well, maybe not on a carpet. Yeah, there we are, yep, there we go. And thumbs up. Bulkhead in his robot mode. As you've seen from the transformation video, I did make a bit of a error in a couple of steps there, but you know, I go over the transformation with the voiceover and stuff like that. It's not really an instruction part of the video, it's just a wee extra I do these days. I'm sure you've seen this guy transformed 1,000 times before, 1,000 times better, but you get the gist of what's entailed in the transformation. In terms of that, it's quite an easy transformation to do, really clever, and shows off the mass shifting design that they've done with this figure. That's why I done his alt mode first as opposed to his robot mode that I usually do, because I thought that was very impressive how they managed it on this animated figure, and indeed other animated figures in the line in the past. So let's take a look at Bulkhead's robot mode. Now I'll do the sort of close zoom in view in a second, but let's take a look at his articulation. Now he's full of ratchets, absolutely full of them. You've got one at the shoulder, you've got one on his elbow. When it comes to his legs, you've got one at the knee, one at the upper leg that goes back and forward. And if that wasn't impressive enough, you get no head articulation whatsoever. These things you can move and adjust and pose as you see fit. In terms of that, aside from the impressive ratchets, you don't get much articulation with a figure of this stature. Only his feet kind of have a little soft ratchet at the front as well, but that's really to be expected from a figure like this. He has a few action features, so with his claw, you push a little button at the top here, push it back and forward, and it does that. You have this chainsaw, same mechanism. You just push it and sort of build up momentum. It's kind of hard to pick up on the camera, but you get the idea. It's not something that's continuous, you have to keep pressing it. I don't think that's as fun as his claw hand there, and I can see why a lot of people have modded it with two Bulkheads and took this arm off and put another one of these on. Plus, you know, he'd very rarely use that in the show, but it was a nice play feature for the kids back in the day, and that's something that a lot of Transformers are lacking these days. So let's get a closer look at the figure, shall we? Let's start off with that wonderful face sculpt, that just straight out of Transformers animated. It's just a shame he's got a little sprue mark on his chin there. Looking at some of the detail now, the majority of this is going to be exactly the same as his alt mode, because there's no faux chest at all involved with this figure, which I think is absolutely brilliant. Looking at some more of the detail there, very smooth panel lines. Looking at his feet, pretty awesome. Getting a closer look in at that blade hand. Still quite sharp, and quite, if you really pressure that, it's quite sharp, quite nippy. Child safety standards and all that. And there's his claw hand flipping him round. This is where things kinda get a bit weak when it comes to Bulkhead. You can see sort of back his head there, which is pretty cool, but when you get to here, this bit's a bit unsightly. And at least you get to see more of the tread detail on his legs there, which is pretty cool. Now, one of the cool features Bulkhead and other leader scale figures have in this animated line is that, at least with Bulkhead only, came with a specific accessory, which was this. Now, this is a headmaster, and he was in a few episodes of the animated series, and he basically chopped off the heads of Transformers, put this head on, and controlled the robot forms, if you haven't seen the show. But if you plug him in, you see we've got all these little grooves here. Just slots in, and then if you press the button, and if you press the button, that's the only phrase he says. But you can see that it gives a better effect with the head swivel. And the clear plastic horns do sort of reflect the light that comes off the LEDs on Bulkhead's chest. I think that's a really neat touch, and it also works with the Leader Class Ultra Magnus, which is pretty cool. A nice extra play value feature for kids. final thoughts on leader class animated Bulkhead. Absolutely fun figure. The transformation is fun, whether it's going from alt to robot, robot to alt. Even though I made a bit of an arse of it when it came to the transformation myself, it's never unfair. Everything fits in as it should. Plenty room for error, plenty clearance room, things like that. Not a problem at all. Excellent figure. There is a smaller version of Voyager size class of Bulkhead that has 2 normal hands as opposed to this one and the little drill chainsaw thing that it has, so if that's more up your alley, that's great. But if you're wanting scale for Transformers animated display, then you want this guy. The only problem is when it comes to finding this guy on eBay, he might be a bit expensive these days, and these missiles that tend to just pop out of that or get knocked out quite easily are probably going to cost a bit of money if you don't get him complete, so I would advise paying a bit more to get this figure complete if you want him. You've got so many posing options with all those ratchets in there. He's sturdy, he stands up quite well. In terms of the quality of plastic, it's something I really wish Hasbro would go back to, but whether they can with the price of oil and blah blah blah, it's something I really miss in the newer box there. This guy just feels heavy, solid, totally worth the money, can withstand a beating from a toddler, believe me. My little son's played with him more so in his alt mode, but still he doesn't play light with his figures because he's a toddler, and well, these figures weren't aimed at toddlers, and they're certainly aimed at younger children, and they can certainly take a beating. Can't, again, I've said it already, can't recommend him enough. Excellent play value. I would certainly say if it wasn't for his sort of play gimmicks, he's pretty much as close to a masterpiece Bulkhead as you're going to see for the foreseeable future, and that's not a bad thing. That was a one thing that the animated figures nailed, was that translation from the TV to the toy. Pretty much I would say almost every animated figure would be more or less masterpiece scale in terms of design, anyway, not scale, but in terms of design. I don't think these will be bettered in the near future at all. Well guys, that was my look at Leader Class Bulkhead as voted by you lot on Twitter and the 3 Facebook pages that are frequent. Like I say, through the week I'll do the review of the other bot that won the poll, but until next time, as always, be excellent to each other.